Hey everybody, call Farley with AM/PM Guide Service here with a Hooked in Travel YouTube channel in association with Angling Outfitters in Woodstock, Ontario. Today's video is going over logging sonar logs, uploading them to the CMAP Genesis online servers, creating the maps, all the features that go along with it, downloading them, and then using them on your unit. Stay tuned. Alright folks, we're here at the main screen here. We have our sonar, side scan, down scan, and map. You're going to want to upload your logs to the CMAP Genesis online web server and create your own mapping. Say, for example, your mapping on your home lake is not sufficient, or it's old mapping software and they haven't updated and it's 20 to 30 to sometimes 30-foot contours between the actual true definition. So now we want our sonar unit on 200 kilohertz frequency. That's going to give us best penetration and best overall. We're also going to have side scan on. We're going to have 800 kilohertz on here in 30 feet or less for water and clarity wise. But once we get over the 40-foot mark, we're going to move it over to our side scan over to 455. That's going to give us a wider swath and better definition at deeper depths. Now my auto range is set for 160, which is good for what we want. But overall, the best preference is what the unit's gonna use for auto, and it's going to give us the exact detail that we need. To get started, to log on with the hook in the Elite Series fish finders, you're gonna wanna hit sonar menu and then go to log sonar underneath here. So this menu will be for the HGS Live, the Carbons, the Gen 3s, the HGS Gen 2s, the Elite TI, and the Elite TI 2s. This is gonna be the exact same menu the way you're going to go about logging a sonar. So we're going to hit the quick key on the power button, and then that's going to bring up the quick menu here. We're going to hit log sonar. So as far as file name is, with the older generations, the Gen 2s, with including the LSS2 transducers, they would include the file names as in the start of sonar 001, 002. It was very confusing because you'd end up having a lot of sonar data with the names of sonar 001, 002. This way it's timestamped to your date and time, and it's a lot easier to organize per which lake you're on for which day, and then it's easier to back up to your hard drive. Now for file format, this is where a lot of people get confused. So your SLG is sonar only. The XTF file is more of a general use file for other programs. It's not as well adapted, and it's for other programs out there on the internet that can create their own mapping software. So as far as uploading to CMAP Genesis, the SLG, the SL2, and the SL3 files are the ones that are used. So the SLG is your only sonar. The SL2 is your sonar and your down scan. Now your SL3 is side scan, down scan, structure scan 3D, and your sonar. But these files are absolutely massive. As far as the recording date, the SL3 files aren't really needed because the side scan and the structure scan 3D modules on the recording aren't used on CMAP Genesis. It's only the sonar and this down scan. Now, so we're gonna hit SL2, and that's gonna be a modest size, and it's gonna be all the data the CMAP Genesis requires. The SL3, you're gonna, in about 15 minutes, you're gonna use 1 to 2 gigabytes of data, and then in the same time frame, you're gonna use about 200 megabytes on the SL2. Which is a lot more manageable, especially with your own data on your computer and your hard drives. So we picked the SL2 file. For the next step, we want to make sure we save to an external SD card. So we're going to insert it to our bottom right SD card readers. Now we're going to hit save to. We're going to hit the memory card on our right side. Now the big thing is you can save your logs to an SD card of 2 to 32 gigabyte SD cards. Now bytes per sounding. Now generally I keep it at 3200 for the best possible definition of lake bottom structure. I will turn it down to 1600 or smaller if I'm going through a general basin that's all sand, mud, muck, that doesn't really have much fish holding structure for whatever species I'm targeting. In an area I'm not really concerned with the structure, or just want the general data for on the contour lines. But for the best possible definition, I'm going to go with 3200 bytes. Now create structure map. That's going to be for when the sonar log is done. It's going to create an overlay of side and down scan imaging, and it's going to create its own map. It must be selected before you start the log. It's good for smaller areas like individual fishing spots or small lakes. Doing all this with all the files afterwards and then merging them into one single map, it's a big undertaking. I usually don't create a structured map just for this reason here. I'm more concerned with having the 1 foot contour lines, the weed growth, and the bottom composition. It's going to take up a lot less data doing it with the traditional logs. The next thing we do, we're going to hit record. We exit. You'll see red dots on your down scan, side scan, and sonar when logging. Every few seconds, you'll see a text box pop up. It'll have your sonar log name, the amount of data used, the time elapsed. It will give you an idea how big your file size is as you're fishing along. Most file sizes I want is around 200 to 300 megabytes. That's a good overall file size to upload. It's not too cumbersome. The max file size you can upload is 4 gigabytes. That's only good when you really have a good internet connection and your browser doesn't time out. To stop your sonar log, we're going to hit the quick key on the power button, or you hit the menu on your sonar menu and hit log sonar, and then you stop it. We hit stop. Before you hit stop, it'll show you the file size you're at, the time elapsed, time remaining on your SD card, and bytes per sounding on this file log, as well as your file name. We hit stop. There we go. That's how you create sonar logs on the HDS systems, the Elite series, the Hook series, and older generations. Another thing to note, checking back every 15 to 20 minutes to make sure your file sizes aren't too big. A stopwatch or timer on your phone comes in handy for this. Another thing, between each log, you got to manually hit the power button, log the sonar, and restart the logging procedure. It will save the file card location from your previous log, but it won't remember the file format or the bytes per sounding. Manually doing this only takes about 5 seconds once you get good at it. As far as the speed goes, the maximum recommended speed is 11 miles per hour to get adequate sonar logs. Probably then you're probably not getting the best definition. Recommended speeds for best sonar readings for mapping are less than 6 miles an hour for logging the data. The faster you go, especially on outside turns, there's going to be a skipping of data points over the turn. The readings won't turn out as good. You're going to want to make sure you slow down on the turns. We're at the dashboard after the initial login screen. So right here, we have the web upload, the desktop upload tool, and the plotters. The desk upload tool is going to be for Windows computers only, and it downloads the program and helps you upload your sonar logs easier. Now we're going to go to web upload to upload our sonar logs, and it'll be listed underneath the sonar trips for each individual log and under each lake it's listed under. And then Genesis merges is going to have our sonar logs that are all merged into one file for each individual lake. It's going to have 2 there, or say here it's going to have under 791 sonar logs under here. The quick search bar allows you to search the lake name, tags, description, file name, or user, which comes in handy when you have multiple lakes and rivers logged over the years. Now if you hit social map, it's going to take you right to the actual social map overview. Social map will take you to the map list and give you every country and every social map that's been logged. You can also search the water body name here in the quick search bar. The plans tab here goes over the CMAP Genesis from the free version on the social maps to the Genesis Edge subscription and compares the 2 plans for you. The features tab goes over the exact features you get for the free version compared to the Edge subscription for the CMAP Genesis. It goes over the custom contour maps, the custom color depth shading, the social map features, compares the vegetation maps, the bottom hardness, as well outlines the trip viewer and compares each feature list side by side. The How It Works tab goes over questions, tutorials, compatible devices as well. To upload for their tool, we're going to hit upload. We're going to hit add sonar logs. We're going to go to our desktop. We're going to find our sonar log, hit upload. This is the option to let you keep it private or publish it to the public social map. This is our manageable file size, which we're going to keep at about 200 to 300 megabytes because our limit here is 4 gigabytes and we don't want anything higher than that because if you have a slow internet connection or your browser times out, you got to start over again, and especially when you're doing 30 or so files at a time. Now we're going to hit add sonar logs to add any more, but we're now going to start upload on just on this one here for demonstration purposes only. And we're going to hit upload. Now it's going to upload our sonar log. So our sonar log is done uploading. We're going to head back to our dashboard. Now it shows our trips that are processing at the moment. And then this will show up underneath whatever lake you're under the Genesis trips itself. Now I just want to go to the plotters here for a second, show you what the plotters is. So the plotters is going to be all our units that we have underneath our subscription. and our login user interface. Now I have 12, 9 carbon, and then a 9 live. So we hit add device, and it's going to ask for our plotter name, serial number, and content ID, and model number, which can all be found on the about in the settings menu on the Lowrance. Now we're going to head back to our dashboard. So each individual trip viewer, so these are the ones we've uploaded here. We're going to hit Lake St. Clair. So this is borders Ontario and Michigan as well. So this actually gives you the exact shortcut to the social map itself if you want to download that and your individual files as well. So the trip viewer is about the same for the Genesis trips and your merges files from all your Sonar logs merged into one map for that lake. So, and you can view them under the same menu. We're going to hit view trip. So right now for this section, we've only got 3 private logs done. So these 3 private logs here, you can go from one to the other, and then we have one merged file. So we hit that merged file, and it's going to assemble all of our ones that we've logged together. This is a pre-done merge process file itself. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our individual file. Now you can edit your trips. You can click your clear track, you can clear the contours, and you can clear the track itself. So clear all. We can bring back our track, we can bring back our contours, and then you can see each individual layers on the Genesis Edge subscription, which is $99 US a year. Hit the vegetation map. So this gives you the vegetation that you've logged, and then the composition on bottom hardness. Obviously the harder it is, the more dark and red it is, and the lighter ones, red, orange, yellow into a white or sandy bottom. Now you can also view in along here exactly where each individual log is. All through here you can see exactly which point along here that Sonar log is at by looking at the primary scan, and then for your Sonar, and the down scan. Now this shows you the manual offset that you can do. Right now, this is our waypoints. You can upload, download the GPX files, and delete the waypoints from here, and there'll be a list here. All you have to do is create a waypoint, is click wherever you want, right click, and add waypoint, and then you can edit the ID and comments as well, and then upload them from the GPX file to your Sonar log. Now we're gonna hit tools. You can edit the current tags on this file, add trip tags, adjust your title. So this is the data offset. So say if you have a fluctuation on the reservoir or river level, you can offset each individual log by -5, -10 example, or you can add them and then apply the offset to each individual log, or you can do it the whole map itself. Merge trips, so this is what I was talking about. So you got to take each individual upload log, we hit trip title, and it'll select all for us under the log here, and this is our track buffer right now. Since I've already got a merge trip made for this, the track buffer is going to be the distance between two tracks and how the computer generation is going to generate the contours between each track. So a 25-meter buffer on smaller lakes and tighter track contours on the record, or you're going to go 50 meters and it's about 50 yards between the two. If for a larger lake, river, I don't usually go bigger than that just because you lose detail between the tracks itself. So you hit merge trips and it'll generate a chart for you. After you've merged the trips, it's going to send you an email after it's done finished processing. So we're going to head back out here. We're going to hit chart generation. Hit that. This gives the option to generate our chart specifically for our unit, and it saves it to a zip file and opens up on your computer automatically. You must save it to 32 gigabyte card or less, micro or regular SD, depending on your unit. Gives us here our target device and what it's coded to. So we have my 12 carbon, my 9, we have a live. So we'd hit live, and then what layers you want to include. So you can option of contours only, vegetation contours, and composition and contours. So I recommend one of these two here, because at least you have the option to turn off vegetation and composition and show all the contours on your map. So right now we're going to go vegetation and contours, and we're going to hit generate. Usually sometimes it takes 1 to 5 minutes to generate it. This is successfully generated map, and you click this to save it, and then it'll download to your computer. Now it's in my downloads folder. Now I do recommend making another one for composition and contours, because if you have both files in both different folders on your SD card, the unit actually will pick up both and read them at the same time. So you can flip composition and vegetation layers on and off as needed and still keep the contour lines. So we're going to generate another chart here, and we're going to hit save. We're saving another one. It's back in my download folder. So we're gonna hit the downloads, go up to there. Now we're gonna look for my St. Clair charts. There's one as well, two. So we'd have an AT5 file, NOS large, NOS medium, small for varying layers of zooming in and zooming out. And the permits, you want all 5 of these files in one folder. So you're gonna want this one. So one is gonna be the vegetation and contours. The other one's gonna be the composition and contours. We want both these files. I'm gonna transfer these to an SD card and then plug it into the side of my computer. And it's gonna pop up here any second. Now we have my untitled SD card. We're gonna take our St. Clair files. We're gonna drag them over. We're gonna take the SD card and plug it into our unit. So another way to download files is the public files for the social map. So we can hit to the list and it'll give us all the lists of all the social map of all the lakes in the world, or hit the social map itself and then it's gonna take us to the overall world view of it. Now another way to go to is find a lake that has social maps with it. So for example would be Lake St. Clair, and then we can hit social map. It'll take us right to that lake. Now we're on Lake St. Clair here. So with Lake St. Clair, so every time you hit the water droplet symbol, it'll bring you to the lake itself. You can star it into your favorites of your bodies of water. We get our trip viewer for the social map itself. Now, as an Edge subscription member for the fee subscription, you can view all the composition for the lakes itself. But when you have a free subscription, you can download the maps as many times as you want, upload as much. It's all public files. And it's only going to get better through the years as everybody starts doing it and everyone's able to access all this, but you don't get access to everyone else's composition of the bottom hardness unless you have that layer. You only have access to the depth like this. So the option here for downloading your social map is we're gonna hit the water droplet for the lake itself. We're gonna hit download, and there's gonna be a pop-up window here on the bottom. So what's gonna happen is we can download the social map for Lake St. Clair. It's the one we're on right now. And then, so this can be for the 12. So we're gonna hit 12, the carbon, and then we can get depth or composition. So we're gonna hit composition because we get both the depth and the composition at the same time. We're gonna hit download, and it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna generate a file for us and with the same folder and the same 5 files in it, and social map generated, and we're gonna hit save file. And it's gonna do the exact same thing, download it. It's gonna be in my download folder. St. Clair again, the public file, the social map, and it's gonna be right there. We're gonna drag that over to our SD card that we're using for our unit, and it's copied. So now we'll go over to the HDS unit and show you exactly how everything's laid out on there with your card. All right, so if we turn our unit back on, we're gonna insert our data card here. We're gonna go to our maps, more options, our chart source, and there's our Lake St. Clair. Now we're at our 3 logs that we've had for our Lake St. Clair map. And then here's the overview. So right now we have all 3 maps, the contours, the bottom hardness, and the vegetation mapped all through here. Now to turn one off, you go to menu, you go to chart, more options, you go to chart options, and you go to categories, and then it'll give you the option to change off bottom composition with the vegetation layer. So we'll take off the vegetation layer. So that's the bottom hardness and the contour lines. Go back to categories, then you take off bottom composition, and it'll just give you the depth contours. And there's your social map that we've logged. So now we can actually hit bottom composition and vegetation composition as well. And that'll overlay it too as well. And both files from St. Clair, the one with the vegetation contours and with the bottom composition and contours, will be read by this unit, and both can be displayed at the same time with each individual layer. All right, on this next screen, this is a map that I've logged on a back lake that's never been mapped before. This is for demonstration purposes to show you what it's like and the true potential of the CMAP logging with the Genesis Edge subscription. You get the access to the vegetation layer and the composition on your individual private maps. But here lies the thing, in this map here, it doesn't have much in the way of vegetation. So the main thing we're going to be using is the contours and the bottom composition, which goes to show you red hard rock to shale to gravel to mud to white is usually around sand for the bottom hardness. Now, this goes to show exactly the 1 foot contours that we have mapped. It shows the depths, this shows extreme detail on our mapping system as well. This gives you the potential features that you could unlock by doing a complete mapping system and logging your sonars through the CMAP subscription model. Now we're going to insert the social map that I downloaded earlier. Now we bring up our social map that we've downloaded. We go to menu, we go to more options, we go to chart source, and then it'll CMAP social map. And that's what you're going to hit, and that's going to bring up this exact chart for whatever link you've downloaded. Now with the free model of the CMAP Genesis Online, this is the chart sources you're going to get. Your basic nautical contour lines. As you zoom in, this gives you the exact detail on what you can expect from the free version. Now, like our previous map, you hit menu, more options, chart options, and go to categories. We can turn on bottom composition, and that'll show us the bottom composition of this area on the social map itself. Now this is only available with the CMAP Genesis Edge. Alright, now this gives you both the overall use of the CMAP Genesis Online free version and the Edge subscription version. Hey everybody again, thanks for watching our video today. I know it's a bit of a long one, but if you like and subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Have a good one guys, and tight lines.